All right, hey, welcome to Impact Weekend. It's here. Thanks so much for being a part of it. My name's Stephen Braswell. I'm the student pastor here at Florence Baptist, and thanks for leading in with us for the weekend. Man, this is truly going to be a great weekend. I just wrapped up meetings with our media team, our production team, our student team, our band, all that stuff, and we're ready to go. It's going to be a great weekend, and so, man, I'm really excited. I'm going to try to answer all of your questions in this video the best that I can, but I just want to let you know a little bit about what Impact Weekend is. Impact Weekend is an in-town retreat for students. Obviously coming up this weekend, February 7th, 8th, and it will end on the morning of the 9th. But we make a few promises to each student that participates in Impact Weekend. Number one, if you come willing and ready, you will be impacted by God. He's got a lot for students this weekend, a lot for me, and a lot for you. Number two, you're going to make a big impact in the community. So on Saturday afternoon, a big part of the event is students are going to be able to participate in a service project and do a lot of good here in Northern Kentucky. And then number three, students are going to have a whole lot of fun. This is a event that's going to be a blast, and I can't wait to be a part of it. So you're a big part of that. You're a big part of making sure that our promises are fulfilled when it comes to the students. And so thanks for being part of the weekend. Thanks for being willing to lead a group of students along with your co-leader. And I'm going to do my best to answer all the questions that I can in this video. So when you arrive here, let me just start into the material. When you arrive here on Friday night, you are going to receive a binder from me. It is a booklet, a binder full of stuff that you're going to need with you all weekend. So it's going to have the list of your students. It's going to have all the addresses you need. It's going to have the schedule for the weekend. It's going to have everything. It's going to have everything that you need in it. And I'll just start by saying this. I do ask that you be here by 5 o'clock. So 5 p.m. on Friday night. So what I would say is, man, grab some dinner and bring it with you. I know 5 o'clock's a little bit early, but we've got a lot of kind of fast food places around the church. So I'll post the address to the church in the group to make sure you know where you're going. But the exit right before us and even our exit has several fast food places that you can just grab something, bring it to the church at 5 o'clock, and we'll huddle up. I'm going to give you some last kind of final instructions, and then we'll go from there. The other thing I want to do at that time that's going to be really important to us is Josh Woods, the guy that's going to be leading worship for us during the weekend, is going to lead us as just a group, just you guys and me. And some of our leaders are going to be in the room before any student arrives or before the weekend really gets going. And man, we're just going to worship for just a few minutes together, just to get our minds and our hearts ready to lead and get our mindset in and what God's going to do for the weekend. So that'll be a really special time. Please be here at 5 o'clock and we will get that rolling. Okay. Once we're done with that time, students are going to start to show up a little bit after that. And so when students show up, I'm going to have you go and spread out in the atrium of our church. So kind of the area right before you get into the worship center is where students will be split up by grade and by gender. And we'll have signs up everywhere. And so your name will be on those and you'll know, hey, listen, I'm going to 12th grade boys. And so you and your co-leader will go hang out by the 12th grade boy sign and just kind of hang out there. So students will start to trickle in. They'll start to drop their luggage, their pillows, those kind of things. And the goal for you at that moment is to go ahead and start the work of being a leader. Is start to try to get to know them. Hey, who are you? What do you like? What do you do? Just kind of start some conversations and start to do the best you can to lean into their life and bring the group together. So that'll be really crucial for that time. After everyone arrives and those kind of things, man, we'll get started with the worship service. And I'll just say this, man, it is your job as the leader to help set the tone for your group. And are they going to engage? Are they going to listen? Are they going to take things seriously? All that starts with you and the standard that you set as a leader. So you as a leader may want to huddle up with your group right before y'all walk in and say, hey guys, I know we just met, but I believe this is going to be a great weekend. I can't wait to get to know you. And I'm looking forward to see what God's going to do. So let's go into this session, willing to see what God has for us. And you guys go into the room together. Y'all pick a spot. And man, you as a leader, just lead by example. Engage in the worship service. Engage in the preaching and what's happening in the moment. And then we'll go from there. Just so you know, the theme of the weekend, the question that we're going to be asking over and over and over again is, who are you becoming? Who are you becoming? So we are the sum of our choices, right? All the little choices that we make seem like they may not be that big of a deal. It's just one little choice here, one little choice there, but all of those tiny choices stack on top of each other, and it makes who we are. So we are the sum of our choices. And so we obviously want to encourage them to be making good choices along the way, to be saying yes to Jesus in every single area, big or small, in their life. And those things, when they are stacked on top of each other and the right choices made over and over and over again, it's going to lead them down a really good path in life. On the flip side of that, we want them to know that God can jump into their story and change everything in a moment. So they may have stacked together a lot of really bad decisions on top of each other, and they find themselves in a mess. Well, God can step into those moments. He's a master at making beautiful things out of messes. And so we don't want to bypass that truth as well throughout the weekend. After the worship session is over, you guys will go back out to the atrium to get all of your stuff and head out to your host homes. Now, your host home should be in the atrium waiting for you after that Friday night session is over. And you, as a good leader, the best thing for you to do is maybe just step aside with your host home for a second before you'll ever leave the church and just say, "Hi, my name is Bob Smith," whatever your name is. Hey, my name is Bob Smith. I'm the college student that's going to be at your house all weekend. Thanks so much for letting us be there. Is there anything I can do to help basically asking them what are their home rules? Like, are there any unique rules to your home that you want me to know? Because I want to do the best I can to respect your home and for it to be a good experience for you. So that would be a great time to do that. And then you roll out to your host home. Now, when you get to your host home, there's going to be a buzz. People are going to have their stuff. They're going to be trying to find their spot, all that. That's great. Y'all spend some time doing that. But then here's what I'll say. You're going to have a session that night. Sorry, my hair's a mess. I need a haircut and my hair itches. So sorry. Yeah, that night. So everyone's going to be finding their spot. So here's what I would do. At some point when things are settling down, it is time to have a session that night. This will all be on your schedule that you'll get in the binder, okay? Before you kick off your session, I would ask that you would maybe just have an honest conversation with your group. Again, you need to be the one that sets the tone for your group. You set the attitude for your group. And the best thing is for you to not try to be there's a fine balance, but the best thing is for you to not to try to be the cool leader. That's just going to be like, hey, I'm going to let you guys do whatever you want and be rowdy. And, we're going to spend 2 minutes on the session in the house and whatever. You will be overwhelmed by Saturday morning, and the students will eat you alive and they'll walk all over you. Okay. if you lead in that way. But, man, we've got some great students, and we've got some great students coming to this event. If you will set the bar and set the expectation and just kind of, make it clear that you're the leader. We are going to lay some ground rules. We are going to take things seriously. That you are the enforcer of the rules for the weekend. Man, they're going to respect you and they're going to fall in line from that. Okay. And then once you figure out your group throughout the weekend, you may be able to back off some of that strictness that you lay down at the beginning. But if you don't do that at the beginning, and you just say, hey, kind of anything goes, and then once they're out of control, you're trying to get it back, you're trying to then enforce rules, it'll never happen. So I just want to encourage you to kind of set the standard from that first start. Hey, my name's Bob Smith. I'm glad you guys are here this weekend. Here's the rules of the house. Here's how these sessions are going to work. And I expect you guys to lean in, respect each other, pay attention, and respect my authority. And so just that basic conversation, making sure they know, hey, everyone is going to sleep. We are going to engage in the weekend. Then you guys are off and running. In the sessions that you have, so you've got 3 different sessions in your host home. One's Friday night, one's Saturday morning, one's Saturday night. In those sessions, you are going to receive a piece of paper that will be in your binder, and they are questions that are typed out by our speaker. So he's going to go through some great content. So for example, Friday night, he's going to have 6 to 8 to 10 questions that are relevant to what he just preached on. So your job, number one, for you to lead well would be, one, to walk back through the scripture that he talked through during the session. Once you do that, you're kind of getting their mind back to where they were during the session. Then you're just going to start to ask some of the questions. And from that point on, your job is to help facilitate the conversation and to encourage them to follow Jesus. So God's going to do a lot of great things in the lives of these students this weekend. And big things, are going to happen within those sessions. But when God's speaking in their heart and in their life during those sessions, they have nothing that they can do with it in the moment, right? Because they're just someone sitting in the chair. once they get home to you and they're in their small group, they have a chance to talk, they have a chance to express their opinion, and you have the opportunity in that moment to guide them in the right way, to point them to Jesus, to encourage them, and then to celebrate what God's doing in their life. And so that's what those sessions are going to look like. Here's what I'll also say too, man, we all have our things that we're passionate about in Scripture and those kind of things. I'm just going to ask that you would stick with the material that the speaker kind of guides through in the sessions. And so that's going to be most helpful for the direction that we're going in these small group sessions. And I'm looking forward to those times. Lights out is lights out Friday night. You need to try your best to get everyone to go to sleep. Again, that's kind of that respecting authority thing. That's going to help everyone come Saturday. Saturday morning, you wake up, there's going to be another session and breakfast and all that in the host home. So that'll be great. And then you come back here for a session, which we'll have a good time at that. Saturday afternoon is where it's gonna get real fun. We got a lot of stuff going on Saturday afternoon, so we'll eat lunch here, and then Saturday afternoon, your group is gonna do one of two things. It's split up from 1 to 3 and 3 to 5. Okay, so from 1 to 3 p.m. you're either going to be going to play, and then from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. You're going to serve, or you're going to serve first and then you're going to go play. So it just depends on which group you're in. All that information will be in the binder that you receive when you get here on Friday. Okay, and all of those places will be listed, and every address will be listed in your binder. So you'll know exactly when you're supposed to be where, and where you're going, the address you're going, which group you have. All that will be listed in your binder. I promise you'll have all the information that you'll need. Here's what I'll say about this. That afternoon, your motto needs to be work hard, play hard. Okay, so as your small group engages in serving, man, we're going to serve well, whatever our project is, and we're gonna crush it. So we've got 2 hours. Let's do the very best we can for 2 hours to make a difference for King Jesus in Northern Kentucky, to make His name great. So, man, just go after it and make sure that people aren't just kind of dinking around and sloughing off during the serve time. No, we're going to go do a good job, and because we're serving in the name of Jesus. And then when you play, man, make sure that everyone's engaged, having a good time, and do your best to participate and encourage them in that. Okay, it'll be a lot of fun. We got some good stuff planned for that. Saturday night, kind of the same deal. So y'all are going home and getting cleaned up. We have dinner here, a last session, all these kind of things. Here's what I'll say about driving around. You're going to be comfortable with your group come Saturday afternoon. You guys are driving all around the city. You're driving to and from the church, all those kind of things. Safety for students is our number one priority. Okay, so all these parents are entrusting you and really me, ultimately me, with the safety of their kids. And so I love Saturday afternoon for the content that we're doing, but I hate Saturday afternoon of Impact Weekend, because there are literally, almost 200 students going in all kind of different directions that afternoon in cars all over the city. Man, if you guys will make sure that everybody's buckled up, y'all will make sure that you're paying attention to the road. And listen, you're going to have groups. Y'all are comfortable, and it's going to be like, hey, let's race the other group in the other car. Let's try to get to the service project first, or let's be goofy. We're turning the music up, and why don't you swerve your wheel like you're dancing, like all that stuff. You just don't be the cool leader in that moment. Like, don't race anybody. We got to think of safety and taking care of students. And so please keep that in mind. The only other thing I'll say is this. Some of you will have some students from our Greenview campus in your group. You'll have some unique things that I'll need you to do on Sunday morning, but we'll talk about that on Friday night when you get here. That will be clearly marked in your folder, and we'll talk through that when you get here on Friday night, okay? As far as those things go, I think that's everything basically that I want to cover. The only other thing I'll say is this. Yeah, obviously make sure you're bringing your sleeping bag with you, all those kind of things. But this right here is an away form. Whoa, I'm sure you can see that super clearly. When your students, when you get a binder and the roster for your students, you will get some of those away forms, because we've got some students that are coming to the weekend, they're leaving for the ACT and they're coming back, or they're leaving for a ball game and they're coming back. Do not allow them to leave unless you have this away form. If they're supposed to leave and you don't have an away form, just give me a call and we'll clear it up. But We don't want somebody running off with their boyfriend or going to do something with somebody that they're not supposed to. We've had parents fill out these away forms, and so that will be the only way that we're going to allow students to leave our care, is if a parent has signed off on it. Okay. Thanks so much for being part of Impact Weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I will see you Friday night at 5 o'clock. It's going to be a great time, and I can't wait to see what God's going to do in you and in me, and ultimately in these students. So we'll talk to you soon.